Perfect. Okay, so now we have live streaming on YouTube. Welcome YouTube. See how easy that was? So let's just double check it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing for a sec so you don't see this screen anymore. Okay, awesome. See, that was easy, right? So now what we're going to do is we're just going to double check it. We make sure that the system is connected. Okay, let's save that browser. Here we go. So we're going to save it. So the recording that I'm going to have is going to be like this. You're going to have a screen here. You're going to be able to see everything that I go through step by step. And you're going to also have these clicks. So you can now follow through every single click that I have, every single one of them. So that way, if you're somebody who can't follow these lives can go quick. They can. I'm building companies. They can go quick. This allows you to follow them a little bit more. Okay, so again, I went and I got that software personally for you guys, so that way you have it. Okay, cool. So now what we're gonna do, let me minimize all of this stuff. Actually, let me exit this, so I won't need this anymore. And then I'm gonna dive into building this thing out. So I was able to cross-check it on the other page, perfect. Okay, now we're gonna build this thing out. So I'm just gonna put up on the screen exactly what we're doing so you can see it. Let me pull up our drive, google.com. Okay, so let's dive into a quick drawing. Okay, so I'm just going to jump into our projects. This is where I typically will store things. And it wasn't there, so we're going to jump in right here. There is an issue with the recording software. Here's the issue, ready? I can't come in here. It records the screen, but since Drive has an issue, sometimes it won't pull up. I thought I'd let you know that. Okay, cool. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to create it from scratch versus me pulling up projects, and I'll have this organized too. We're going to call this specific thing, we're going to say data processor, sir, and we're going to call it chat GTP integration. Okay. So now there will be a document. Okay, I'll get this document shared so that way people can see it. They can use this stuff. Okay, what we're going to be doing, those processes. So if you saw my last live, there's a specific processor that we focused on. If you didn't see my last live, go watch it. It's fun. Okay. The recap, we built a process on this. Okay, what we did is we built an overview, and what the overview did is it went over how the system worked and how it connected to this processor. Okay, so what we have now is a processor, and what I went over before is there's a few sections of the processor that you want. You want one section for, let's say, lead specific, one section for any automations, one section for, so you sectionize each and every processor, and I'll just show you how we do it. Okay, so this is our processor. We got data going kind of all different ways. Let me make sure that that's connected. Cool. So here's our processor. Okay, so I'm going to be focusing on this one right here. So we're going to be, it's our profile processor. Okay, we're going to be focusing on this specific one, and why I'm going to explain. I'm going to dive deep in exactly why you're going to focus on this one. Okay, so the first thing is you need leads. You need to be able to get leads. You need to be able to organize the data for those leads. Everybody in the world technically could be a lead. So you identify who your target is and who your selling is, but you keep the data of everything and you let the data work for you. So this way you're not just trying to sell one item. You can predict the trends, you can see the trends, you can see things based off of the profiles in a sense that you have. Meaning you'll see who's buying, who's not buying. That's the type of data that we want, and we want to know where to connect with them. So then we can sprout automations out to connect with them in the future. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. Okay, so our processor. Here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to build it in a spreadsheet, okay? And its goal again is to collect data. So we're going to have a spreadsheet that collects data, and then we're going to have a system or AI that is connected to this that's going to sprout out. Okay, so I'll kind of go through the data points that we put down, and maybe we'll find some new ones. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of build it from scratch so that way you can see it. So the first thing is there's a Google Sheet. Okay, this Google Sheet, you have prospect, leads, location, users, clients, right? So think of it as this. Prospects are the data in which you scrape. It's not hot. They're just there. They could be a prospect. A lead is somebody who maybe has interest. So it's down one level. A location is if you have, let's say, GHL and you're trying to keep track of the location. The user is so you can keep track of the user within the location, and the client is so you can keep track of the clients that are connected to this whole thing. Why are we doing this? Because every business that we bring in could be a potential future lead, meaning if we have somebody that comes in from a client and now that client wants to get online digital services through you, you might as well have their data in the system to be able to market that in the future. So it's your data. Make sense? That's why we're creating this thing. And we're doing some fun stuff with it. Okay. So what we have is we have a location. So here's our location. It would have a location, right? We want to know when it was registered. We want to know the status of it, meaning are they an active account? Are they canceled? Are they paused? We want to know their ID because this is the location in which they're in. We want to know the business name, okay, coming down, industry that they're in. And let's say you want to go even deeper. So you have, let's say it's Jimmy's Pizza, Pasta, and Subs. That's your person. Well, what industry is that person in? They're in the restaurant industry. Okay, well, what category are now they in? What cuisine? Now you can say what cuisine in a sense they are. And now it's a pizza place, right? Now let's say Club 89 Social. Which industry is it in? Right? It's in the service tech industry. Okay, you can say that it's in the advertisement industry. Well, which category is it in? Social media management. Does that make sense? So you organize it in a way that you can break things down. So all you're doing at the end of the day is just organizing data points. That's the goal of the whole thing. Organize data points so you can see who they are and how to connect with them. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to focus on leads. So this is our locations one. This is me just going down the list of what we need, right? And it's just on how many contacts they have, who the owner is, what their phone number is, right? The contact information, and then all of the links that are associated with this location. This way, as a business, you can retain your customers. How you retain your customers is you have posts going on TikTok on all of these different channels so your customers can see it. And if you have links to those specific customers, guess who is seeing your specific post? Them. If they see you everywhere, they want to keep you. No matter what, they want to keep you. Okay. That's why we're putting all their profiles. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll put on what they need. So this one would be like the snapshot. Okay. Once there's a snapshot, now it's modules. And what I mean by this is the snapshot is this is the business in a sense that you're giving them. What is it? What is the category in which you're giving them? If you're building out, again, within GHL, this is for you, okay? You're building out now the modules. So what is a module? A module is like let's say you have an automated survey sequence, right? Let's say you have a review module that you've created. Let's say you have like these workflows in a sense that you created that you can apply to other people, but you do not want to disrupt the snapshot itself. what it is, it's a module. So now you can add individual modules within one business versus here's a big snapshot, right? This is how you're just organizing the data. Okay. So we have snapshots, we have modules, and then what I would probably say is add-ons. These are extra services that they might have. Okay. So now they have add-ons. Okay. Then you're going to want to know what software you're giving them if you're giving them multiple different softwares. If you say now software, you have a software plan, software package. Okay. Let's say it's service plan, service. Now they have a service plan. And the next one is ownership dash partnership. So let's say partnership. Right. This is where you're creating that custom solution for them where you become their partner. Organize it, right? Okay. Now is that enough? So we have our software plan, we have these type of things. What else do we want to know about them? Competition, right? Competitor number 1, competitor number 2, and competitor number 3. Okay. Now you have the competitors, who they are, okay? And if you can put a link there, so let's say we do just one more channel to the right. URL number 1. So I'll explain what I'm doing here. Whoops. There you go. My hands are a little chilly. I'm outside right now and I'm typing and my hands are stiffening up. So I set my office outside so that way I could not just be in the box while I'm doing this stuff. Because if you notice, it gets deep, right? Analyzing it gets deep. It takes a lot of time to do. Um, so I had to get an outside office. I had to get one because it's it's cold, but it's nature. I like nature. So that way, again, I get out of the box, but yet I still create. That's my goal for it. Okay, so we have competitor 1. Let's go to competitor 2. Do you guys like it when I do commentary, or do you just like me as a machine? Like, keep going, Cam, just be a machine. That's a side question. Put that in the chats if you would, so that way I have some feedback on it. Okay. So competitor profile 1, you want a URL to that profile. 2 URL, 3 URL. I'm sure that makes sense. Okay. And then we'll do a demographic. Profile. So what the demographic profile is basically your company that you're helping. If you're an agency, they're going to have specific demographics that work for them. Okay. Avatar, in a sense. That's what you need. So you need the avatar, you need the demographics. So this way you have targeting when you're marketing. So let's go into demographic profile. Rubbing my hands. Okay. Avatar profile. And what we did for this is we just purchased a software from AppSumo for the avatars. Demographic, you can do it to any type of research type software. You could put a URL here and connect it. Okay. So we have this. Okay. Demographics. Do we need anything else? Let me see. Competitor 1, we have that. Avatar, we have that. Demographics, we have that. If you can think of any other that we add, just let me know. Okay, so we have all their contact information, who they're marketing, right? I think that's about everything for now. Okay. Now the next thing we need prospects and leads. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to build some systems on these ones. So let's build some systems. Let me minimize this guy. Let me pull back up the diagram. And there's our stream. Let me drop that stream down. And it's fun. You have so many computers that you forget where the, or you lose it. It minimizes, then it pulls it off the screen. There it is. Perfect. There it is. Okay, so the profile one, what you need is this, okay? So we have those two sections, right? We have our prospects. We had our leads. Okay. We had our locations, our users, and the contacts. Okay. So now what it's doing is, again, it's connecting to these. Does that make sense? How we're building that out? Okay, whoops. And then I'm gonna just create a new page for this one. So that way we keep this as an overview. Okay, so in a sense, that's what it's doing. So what we do, now if we're in our spreadsheet, new plus, right? And we're just gonna call this one the same. Okay, so this specific one is profile processor. Okay, so let's name this one overview. Rename this one, we'll name it overview. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this one. Okay, profile processor. This got even colder here. Okay, let's do this. Alrighty, let's copy this guy and let's put him right here. Okay, we can delete this guy. So now what we can do is we can get now more deep on this. So the idea is you have one section, right? This just gives you the overview, keep it as the overview. The next section is, let's say it's the profile processor. There it is. So there we have it, okay? Now what we're gonna do is this, we need ways of bringing information into this processor to connect it, okay? So let's do that. So let's say this specific way, we have a scraping system. This is just something that scrapes data on autopilot in a sense, and then brings them here. So you need like a scraping system, okay? You would need a cleaning system. You'd need a warming system. Okay, and then you'd need a database. Okay. So one of the databases, so we'll start with database. One of the databases that we have is this company, it's Consumer AI. And what they do is this. So they scrape data from the credit bureaus. And I'm not going to show you the data that it scrapes. I'm not going to show you, in a sense, the individual, but I'll just show you this. So for us, we have $1 billion credit to use right now. That's all of us sharing this, right? You can share it. That's why I'm creating this. We all have $1 billion worth of abundance, in a sense, to use, because that's what they gave us, is $1 billion to use. So as perception hackers, how do we make the most amount of value out of this solution? Pull data. So let's dive in really quick. Okay. So now we're pulling nationwide, and now we can pull data on everything, right? And when we run it, we get a profile. Okay, so now take this, okay, that's your database. When you run it, you get a profile. So let's say we break this down a little bit more, okay? So you could say profile. So within that database, there's a profile, and then that profile has data information. We'll just call it info. Okay. So we have this now as a reference point. So think of this piece as just a reference point. What that means is it, does it match the scraped data? You have to have a reference point, okay? So now what you do is you scrape the data, you import this data too. All of those go into prospects, and those prospects then build out profiles based off of the information you have. Then what you do, okay, you have a scraping system, a cleaning system. Let me do, I guess warming system would happen at about the same time of like a learning system, okay? Learning system. This is where you're going to put your ChatGPT. So this way, you have a brain in a sense behind your creation. So if ChatGPT is, let's say it's AI, and the AI has intelligence. Let's say now you could tap into that, right? Their entire database, you could tap into it and you could ask it prompts to learn off of that prospect. Does that make sense? So it's pretty powerful, right? You get all of these working together. All of these working together create a lead, okay? Let me move this out just a little bit more. Let's move all of these together so we have some space. There we go. Okay, do you follow me there? That one step pushes them to a lead automatically. Okay, your only cost is here. It's all an automated system. The next thing that you do is you want to gain interest. So how do you gain interest? Okay, you market them. And how do you market them? You market them based off of the data that you're creating. See that database, the reference points, all those things? They give data back to these platforms like Facebook, YouTube, those type of companies. So then what you do is you say, okay, how do I create a paid marketing strategy? And how do I do organic? And then the other, I put them in 3 for all. Okay. There you go. So now you connect them to that piece of that processor. And what's really neat is you have this software right here, this brain, and I'm just going to bring up a big, let's imagine this. It's a big picture. Okay, their entire database of learning. So then what do? You plug it in, this same exact data, you create a prompt and plug it into here. Plug it into here. And then what it does is it learns the trends in which you should market. It learns and does it for you of how you should do organic marketing. It learns to say, hey, which is the best way to gain referrals? You plug it in the system and let it do its job, and it pushes it back. Okay, this is why this is so powerful. Okay, if you connect this, you have a system that's self-learning and self-growing. All you have to do is collect the data and understand the data to make sure the system works. That's why we're creating this processor. If you want me to go deeper on you, okay? So there's our marketing side, paid. Okay, we have different platforms, so we can break it down into platforms. We're just going to keep it there so we can create another marketing piece in the future. Okay, and then our location. So how our system has to connect to our locations is like this. Okay, so our locations have information that we need. So they have contact. Okay, those are all that contact information that I put down. So let me move this aside really quick. See how it can get big? Okay. And then I'll zoom back in. So we have that side built, then we're going to focus this side. Okay. You need to be able to contact them. And that's why we put those links down to all of the different platforms. Because to contact them, what you have to do is you have to nurture them. There's a few ways of nurturing, right? Nurture. You have effective ways that are soft, which is email and social media. Social media. Okay. So now we have these ways of reaching out to them. And then we have the other ways like phone calls, friendly greetings, mailers, those type of things. Okay. We're going to be connecting with them on a digital base, right? A social base, right? And a physical base. So again, you want to touch the touch points is digital, social, physical. And the reason that we do these digital is when they're usually working, right? They're busy. This is when people look at their emails, when they're doing busy work, okay? When their brain's moving, they're looking at emails. Social is when they're chilling with their friends. And this is at home. So if you can have awesome touch points on these, right? Naturally, you keep longer clients. Your attrition is removed. So then what you do is you connect these systems to your ChatGPT and you learn the behavior. Okay. Let me zoom this back. And I want to stop for a sec too. And the reason I want to stop this is, do you see the value? Do you see the value in creating a schematic? It can become complex, but you can simplify it by organizing it. But if you can create a system like I'm doing right here, see these? If you can create these type of systems, you can create anything that you want. Okay, on a sales standpoint, a system standpoint, operational standpoint, kind of all spots. Just that. Draw squares, connect the lines. Okay, and I want to stop and share that. Like, People complex things so much. They make things so complex, like I don't know how to sell. Where am I going to go? They make it so complex that they forget to stop and organize. So now it's like you have a billion papers that pile up. Life overwhelms, right? Like life hits, but you're a busy entrepreneur and you're trying to build your business, right? That's for me, that's the lifestyle I grew up in. The rush, right? And imagine you just stop and you structure things like this. You notate things. I mean, imagine I'm a person that's coming to buy your company. Like, just imagine it for just a second. And I have every detail documented from the exact system and process of how everything works. I'm telling you, if you can do that, your company becomes worth more, your idea becomes worth more, everything becomes worth more because it's provable. It's not just I sprinkle some dust on it and now it's the best pizza in the world. It's not that way. It's that you systematize everything. You overcame the buying objections of the person that's acquiring your business. You overcame everything based off of pure logic, pure systems. That's that next level of people. They see it and they say, "Oh, this is very well organized. You've put together everything. Your again, your goals are met. You're this, you're that, right?" That's what they look for because all they want to do is spend a ton of money, which goes to you, to have that money make them more money. They're just investors. So build it as if you're presenting to a investor, because it just comes down, if you do it right, right? The right people come by, the right investors do, and they help grow it. So that's why I'm sharing, structure it. Okay. Let's go to the next step. So I tend to go deep on these things just to try to pound it in. I've been accused that it's like too much, like, but the reality is put it like as fast as you can, put it through your mind, analyze it, make it right, go to the next step. That's how you build a business. Instead of sitting on something and saying, how do I build out the social media? It doesn't matter. What matters is you put the square. That square represents you can come back to it at any time. It's like a cheating point. Think of it that way. You're building out a system. It's a cheating point. You can come back to it at any time in the future ever. So if you don't have the thoughts or knowledge now, who cares? You have a square, but you see what it represents. You put the value behind it. These drawings, these sketches, these things, like I say, they become more personable to you. Now building your business, if you're trying to influence somebody, do you think they're going to buy? Hell yeah. So I wanted to go over that. Like, do this, do this. If you're not doing this, sketch everything out, sketch the entire process. Okay. So now you see my process. We break it down. We do the same thing. So locations, we have this based off of collected information. Okay. We plug it into the chat. So we would plug it into scraping systems, scraping. And then we would plug this into here, let's jump back. This same system right here. So we're gonna actually remove this. And the user data, we're gonna go one over. Whoops. Look how we're gonna connect this. Look where it's connected to. Okay. It's connected to this processor. See? This is just connected to the processor that we're building right here. That processor is just grabbing extra data. So then it pushes that data back to the database, right? Let me gap that a little bit so it's cleaner. Okay. pushes data back to the database, and the data goes through that same process from converting now that user to a lead, then to a location, right? And then to go get more people, right? To go get more users. So do you see that system? Okay. we're just going to connect that dot here then. And then we're just going to say, send data. Hey, system, we need to check the database. Oh, you didn't check the database. Okay. We're going to now plug this back into the AI and say, hey, we checked the database, but we need more information. Can you tell me the social media of this person? Can you tell me all those contact information of that person? And what does this software do? It says, okay, because it has no filter, so it finds that data for you. Now you organize it, bring it back into your business. Okay, same thing, contacts, same exact thing. Okay, now this is everything, right? We're gonna have to get the contacts. If we can get into the contacts of this user, now we have all of their contacts. Again, if this user adds their contacts to the system, all the data is transferred. So now every single location that you're creating, every single, in a sense, customer that you're getting actually cycles back into your own system, your own marketing system, and you're automating it through the entire process. That's how you're using the system. That's why it's so valuable, okay? This is what we're building, okay? Let me share this link with you if you need. I'm kidding. I'm not going to share this with you. Do you know why? If you didn't watch this video, you don't get this information. You don't get this nugget. You don't get to skip the steps. Okay, the steps are learning the process and how it's created. If you understand it, you follow it. It's that simple. Okay. Here's your processor. Okay. Now let's jump back to ours. I'm going to jump back to that spreadsheet that we had right here. Okay, so we just now built that out. Now we just have to fill this with data roles. And if we don't know those data roles, then we just have to program that if we're wanting to make this fully automated, right? So let's go through prospect. So prospect, we'd have to have date registered. We'd have to have their name. We'd have to get their phone number. We would need their email. And then we go back to that same contact information that we have right here. Okay, let's just copy this guy. I'll copy it from right. We'll just say here. To here, copy. Okay. Let me delete these guys. Okay. Now this is the information we're going to need, okay, on this prospect. Okay, now let's copy this and put it back up here. Delete that. Okay, so now we have our registration here. We're going to copy this thing. We're going to put it in here. Same thing with leads. Okay, locations have it. Let's go with users. Users are going to have a little bit more data, and then clients as well. So our users, we're going to have add a column to it to the right, and we're going to add location. Then we're going to add one more to the right. So we have a registration, the name, location, ID. Okay, would need their phone number. They have the phone number. Tulio, we don't really need that information. We only need the information that will allow us to contact that user. Okay, I think this about does it. So we have that, and then we're going to copy this one because it should be complete right here. Boom. Okay, so now we have a complete sequence of all of the clients or customers that come in. What we would do is we would add one more here to the right, and we would say customer ID. One right here too. Add this to the right, user ID. Okay, you're collecting this so now you can have an API in the future. So now if you need an API to trigger to say, I need to do something with this profile, you could use this user ID to pull that data if you wanted. Okay. Now let's go back to locations, and what are we going to need here? We have those. We need our system information now. Okay. So our system information is based off of APIs. So we need a bearer token. Bearer token. Okay. Bearer token is the specific ID for the location. It allows you to jump into the APIs of the location. So this way, if the person needed something like support, they could actually do it within any aspect of their dashboard and still you can still bring that data back up. Okay. So it's like a identifier. Okay. So we have the bearer ID. We would have the reference, referral, look, we'd have the referral ID. This is in case anybody brought them into the business. Let me have that respelled. When it gets late, I can't spell anymore. Okay, so we need the bearer token, the referral ID. This is if, again, anybody referred this location in. Okay, from there, we would start to need the specific systems. So one of the things that we offer is we offer a different software, like a software suite. So if you offer, let's say, services, or you offer those type of things, this is what you would do. You'd kind of build out the data based on that offer. So let's say we're here, so we'd have the referral ID. Trying to think exactly how we would add this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a 10-minute break. So I've been creating and my brain's gone to mush for a sec. I'm going to refresh with some water, be right back, and go back through the system. So hope that was awesome. Again, I'm going to stop recording on one side. It's been about an hour. I'm going to stop recording on one side so there's a link, and then there'll be two parts to this one. So. Alrighty, guys. We'll see you in a second.